They ridiculed the tiny Terran until the apex predator called him. Kin Marcus Chen pressed his back against the cold metal wall of the corridor as Commander Thexvar walked past. The massive Krathan warrior stood nearly 9 feet tall, his thick purple skin covered in natural armor plates that could stop plasma rounds. Each of his 4 arms was thicker than Marcus's entire torso. The commander's yellow eyes glanced down at the human with the same look someone might give a particularly small insect. Still hiding in the shadows, little Terran? Thexvar's voice rumbled like distant thunder. Perhaps you should return to your homeworld where the gravity won't crush your fragile bones. The other aliens in the corridor laughed. A crystalline Vexhi scientist named Zixara clicked her mineral fingers together, creating a sound like breaking glass. I still cannot believe the Galactic Council allowed such a primitive species to join our mission. What purpose could something so weak serve? Marcus said nothing. He had learned that speaking up only made things worse. At 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighing just 150 pounds, he was smaller than every other being on the research vessel Convergence. Even the Zephyrian traders, who were considered short among the galactic community, towered over him at 7 feet tall. The ship housed representatives from 43 different species, all working together to explore the unknown regions of space. Marcus was the only human aboard, sent by Earth's government to study alien life forms. It had seemed like a great honor when he was selected. Now 3 months into the mission, he wondered if it had been a mistake. Dr. Corvin, a serpentine slack who served as the head of xenobiology, slithered up to the group. His 6 arms moved independently as he spoke, holding various data pads and instruments. The human does have his uses, he said in his hissing voice. His small size allows him to access areas we cannot reach. Think of him as a living tool. The other aliens laughed again. Marcus felt his face grow hot with embarrassment, but he kept his expression neutral. He had a job to do, and he would not let their words stop him from doing it. A tool that breaks easily, added Quarith. A massive Gorvian whose stone-like skin could withstand temperatures that would melt steel. I have seen Earth's gravity readings. Their world is so gentle that they never developed proper strength. A single blow from any of us would shatter every bone in his body. Marcus wanted to tell them they were wrong. Earth was not gentle. Earth was a world where everything tried to kill you, from the smallest virus to the largest predator. Humans had survived ice ages, plagues, natural disasters, and their own violence. They had climbed to the top of the food chain on a planet that seemed designed to destroy them. But the aliens would not understand. They came from worlds where their species had always been the dominant force. The Krathan evolved on a planet with low gravity and few predators. The Vexhi grew in crystal gardens where they faced no threats. The Sislak came from swamp worlds where they had no natural enemies. None of them understood what it meant to be afraid every day of your life and still find a way to survive. The ship's communication system crackled to life. All senior staff to the bridge immediately. We have received a priority signal. Commander Thexvar straightened his massive form. Finally, some real work. He looked down at Marcus with disgust. Try not to get lost on the way, little one. The group moved toward the bridge and Marcus followed at a distance. The corridors of the Convergence were built for beings much larger than humans. Everything was too tall, too wide, too heavy for him to use comfortably. The chairs in the meeting rooms were so large that his feet did not touch the ground when he sat in them. The control panels required him to stand on portable platforms to reach them. The bridge was a vast circular room with a dome-shaped ceiling that showed the stars outside. Captain Veltar, a female Krathan even larger than Thexvar, stood at the center. Her 4 arms moved across different control surfaces as she spoke with the ship's AI. Report, she commanded as the senior staff gathered around her. The ship's AI, a calm voice that came from speakers throughout the room, began to speak. We have received a distress signal from Research Station Omega-7. The station was investigating unusual life forms on the rogue planet Kethera-7. How old is the signal? Asked Dr. Corvin, his 6 arms weaving together nervously. 3 months, 14 days, and 6 hours, the AI replied. The signal is automated and has been repeating continuously since that time. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. A distress signal that had been running for over 3 months meant that whatever happened to the research station had happened a long time ago. The chances of finding survivors were almost zero. Captain Veltar's expression grew serious. What was the nature of their research? Station Omega-7 was studying organisms that appeared to exist partially outside normal spacetime. Their last communication mentioned discovering life forms that did not follow conventional physical laws. The bridge fell silent. Every species in the galaxy had heard stories of things that existed beyond normal reality. Most considered them myths or legends. The idea that a research station had actually found such creatures was both exciting and terrifying. Distance to the station? The captain asked. 18 hours at maximum warp. The AI responded. Set course immediately. Captain Veltar turned to address the senior staff. We will investigate the station and attempt to determine what happened to the research team. Commander Thexvar, prepare an away team. The massive Krathen nodded. I will take our strongest warriors and best scientists. Marcus cleared his throat softly. Captain, I would like to volunteer for the away team. The bridge erupted in laughter. Even Captain Veltar, who was usually professional, could not hide her amusement. Little Terran, she said, shaking her head. This is a mission that will require strength and courage. We do not know what dangers await us on that station. It would be irresponsible to risk your life. I am the ship's xenobiologist, Marcus said firmly. If there are unknown life forms involved, you need someone who specializes in studying alien species. Dr. Corvin is our head of xenobiology, Thexvar rumbled. He has 6 times your experience and 20 times your strength. With respect, Commander, Dr. Corvin specializes in conventional life forms. My training on Earth focused on organisms that exist outside normal biological parameters. I have studied creatures that challenge our understanding of what life can be. This was true, though Marcus did not mention that most of those creatures had been theoretical. Earth scientists had long speculated about the possibility of life forms that existed beyond the normal rules of physics and chemistry. Marcus had written his doctoral thesis on such possibilities. Captain Veltar considered his words. The human makes a valid point. His perspective might be useful. Thexvar's forearms crossed over his chest. Captain, I must object. The human will be a liability. We will spend more time protecting him than investigating the station. I can take care of myself, Marcus said quietly. The Krathen commander laughed, a sound like boulders crashing together. You take care of yourself? Little one, I could snap you in half with one finger. Marcus looked up at the massive alien warrior. Maybe, but I'm still here and I'm still volunteering. Something in his voice made the laughter stop. For a moment, the bridge was quiet. Captain Veltar studied Marcus with new interest. Very well, Terran. You may join the away team, but you will follow Commander Thexvar's orders without question. Understood. Captain. As the meeting broke up and the crew dispersed to their duties, Marcus remained on the bridge looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, a research station waited in the darkness. Something had happened to the people there, something involving creatures that should not exist. For the first time since joining the mission, Marcus felt a familiar sensation in his chest. It was not fear exactly, though fear was part of it. It was the feeling he had known all his life on Earth, the knowledge that something dangerous was coming and he would have to face it. The other aliens saw weakness when they looked at him. They saw a small, fragile creature from a primitive world. They did not understand that being small and fragile had taught humans to be something else entirely. They had taught humans to be survivors. The shuttle bay of the Convergence hummed with activity as the away team prepared for departure. Marcus checked his equipment for the 3rd time, making sure everything was secured properly. His environmental suit was the smallest one the ship carried, but it still felt loose around his shoulders and arms. Commander Thexvar stood near the shuttle, his massive form covered in combat armor that looked like it could stop a missile. His forearms held different weapons, each one larger than Marcus's entire body. 3 other Krathen warriors flanked him, equally well-armed and armored. Dr. Corvin slithered up the shuttle ramp, his 6 arms clutching various scientific instruments. Behind him came Zixara, the crystalline Vexi scientist, her mineral body refracting the shuttle bay lights into rainbow patterns. Remember, little Terran, Thexvar rumbled as Marcus approached. You stay behind us at all times. Do not touch anything without permission. Do not speak unless spoken to. And if I tell you to run, you run as fast as your weak legs can carry you. Understood. Commander, Marcus replied calmly. The shuttle launched from the Convergence and began its approach to Research Station Omega-7. Through the viewports, Marcus could see the station floating in space like a metal flower. It had 8 arms extending from a central hub, each arm containing laboratories and living quarters for the research team. "Station appears intact," reported the shuttle pilot, a young Krathan named Hextar. "No visible damage to the hull. All airlocks are sealed. Life signs?" asked Thexvar. "Negative. No life signs detected anywhere on the station." Marcus felt that familiar chill again. A research station with no life signs was never a good sign. Whatever had happened to the crew, it had been complete and final. The shuttle docked with the station's main airlock. As the away team prepared to board, their instruments detected normal atmosphere and gravity inside. The station's power was still running, and the environmental systems were functioning normally. "At least we will not need breathing apparatus," Dr. Corvin hissed, adjusting his equipment belts. Commander Thexvar activated his helmet communicator. "Convergence, this is Away Team 1. We are boarding the station now. Maintain contact every 10 minutes. Acknowledged, Away Team 1. Good luck." The airlock cycled open, and the team stepped into Station Omega 7. Marcus immediately noticed something wrong. The corridor walls, which should have been smooth metal, were covered in strange organic growths. The growths looked like thick vines or roots, but they pulsed with a faint blue-green light that seemed to come from within. The air smelled wrong too, not bad exactly, but different. It smelled like ozone and something else Marcus could not identify. "What are these growths?" Zixara asked, reaching toward one of the pulsing vines. "Do not touch it," Thexvar ordered sharply. "Dr. Corvin, analysis." The serpentine scientist extended one of his arms toward the growth, keeping a safe distance. His instruments beeped and clicked as they scanned the organic material. "Readings are unusual. The growth appears to be partly organic and partly energy-based. I am detecting quantum fluctuations in its structure." Marcus studied the growths more carefully. They seemed to respond to the team's presence, pulsing brighter when someone moved close to them. The pattern reminded him of something, but he could not place what. "The research logs should be in the central computer core," Thexvar said. "We will proceed to the main laboratory section." The team moved through the station corridors in formation. The Krathan warriors took point, followed by the scientists, with Marcus bringing up the rear. The organic growths became thicker as they moved deeper into the station. In some places, the vines had grown so thick that they nearly blocked the corridors. "Commander?" Hextar's voice came through the communicator. "I am reading some strange energy signatures from deeper in the station. They are not showing up on normal sensors." "What kind of energy?" Thexvar asked. "Unknown. The patterns are unlike anything in our databases." They reached the main laboratory section, and Marcus's breath caught in his throat. The large research lab had been completely transformed. The organic growths covered every surface, ceiling to floor. They pulsed in slow, rhythmic patterns that reminded Marcus of a heartbeat. Scientific equipment lay scattered and broken, but not from violence. It looked like the growths had simply grown over and around everything, breaking it apart by their expansion. Dr. Corvin moved toward a computer terminal that was partially free of growths. "I am accessing the research logs now." The screen flickered to life, showing the last entries made by the research team. The image was of a human woman, Dr. Sarah Martinez, who had been the station's chief researcher. "Research log, day 87, her recorded voice said. "We have made contact with the organisms from Kythera 7. They are unlike anything we have ever encountered. They seem to exist partially in our dimension and partially somewhere else. Initial attempts at communication have been interesting." The recording flickered and changed to a later entry. Dr. Martinez looked tired and worried. "Research log, day 93. The organisms have begun to manifest more fully in our reality. We are seeing physical changes to the station. The crew is reporting strange dreams and feelings of being watched. I am beginning to think we made a mistake in bringing them aboard." Another flicker, another date. Research log, day 96. 3 crew members have disappeared. We found their quarters filled with the same organic growth we see elsewhere. Dr. Chen believes the organisms are not just studying us, they are hunting us. I am sending a distress signal and recommend immediate evacuation." The recording ended abruptly. "That was the last entry," Dr. Corvin reported. 96 days ago. "What happened to the crew?" asked Zixara, her crystalline voice sounding nervous. Marcus was studying the patterns of the organic growths when he noticed something that made his blood run cold. The growths were not random. They formed specific shapes and patterns that reminded him of neural networks or brain tissue, and they were all oriented toward the center of the station. "Commander," he said quietly, "I think we need to leave. Now." Thexvar turned his massive head toward Marcus. "What did you say, little one?" "These growths. They are not just random organic matter. They are forming a network, a thinking network, and I think it knows we are here." As if responding to his words, the organic growths throughout the laboratory began to pulse faster. The blue-green light grew brighter, and Marcus could swear he heard something like whispers coming from the walls. "Nonsense," Dr. Corvin hissed. "They are simply plant-like organisms. They cannot think." Marcus shook his head. "On Earth, we have organisms that form collective intelligence. Fungi that can communicate across vast distances. Bacterial colonies that act like single minds. These growths show all the signs of a distributed consciousness." The whispers grew louder. Now everyone could hear them. "Commander," Hextar's voice crackled through the communicator, "I am reading massive energy spikes throughout the station. Something is activating." Suddenly, the lights in the laboratory went out. The only illumination came from the pulsing organic growths, which now throbbed with angry red light instead of blue-green. In the darkness, something moved. It was hard to see at first, a shadow that seemed darker than the surrounding darkness. But as Marcus's eyes adjusted, he could make out a shape that hurt his mind to look at. It was roughly humanoid but wrong in every way. Its proportions shifted as he watched, as if it could not decide what shape it wanted to be. "What is that?" Zixara whispered. The shadow thing turned toward them, and Marcus saw what might have been eyes. They were not in the right place, and there were too many of them. But they were definitely looking at the away team. Commander Thexvar raised his weapons. "Hostile contact. All weapons fire!" The Krathan warriors opened fire with their plasma rifles. The energy beams passed through the shadow creature as if it were not there. It did not even seem to notice the attack. Then it moved toward them, and Marcus understood why the research team had disappeared. The creature flowed across the floor like liquid darkness. When it reached the first Krathan warrior, it simply passed through his armor as if it were air. The warrior screamed once, a sound of pure terror, and then collapsed. His armor was intact, but when Thexvar checked him, there was nothing inside but empty space. "Fall back," the commander shouted. "Fall back to the shuttle." The team ran through the corridors as more shadow creatures emerged from the organic growths. Marcus's smaller size worked in his favor now. He could dodge around obstacles that slowed down his larger companions. But he could hear the creatures behind them, moving through the walls and floor like they were not solid. They reached the airlock, but 2 more warriors had vanished along the way. Dr. Corvin was shaking with terror, his 6 arms wrapped around himself. Zixara's crystalline body was flickering with panicked light patterns. As they sealed the airlock behind them, Marcus looked back through the viewport. The organic growths had spread to cover the walls of the airlock corridor, and in the pulsing red light, he could see dozens of shadow creatures moving through the station like schools of fish. The shuttle undocked and pulled away from the station at maximum speed. As they fled, Marcus realized something that chilled him more than anything else they had seen. The shuttle bay was filled with chaos when the away team returned to the convergence. Medical teams rushed to treat Dr. Corvin and Zixara, who were both showing signs of severe shock. Commander Thexvar stood rigid as Captain Veltar demanded a full report. "The station has been completely compromised," Thexvar said, his voice shaking slightly. "We lost 2 warriors to hostile entities that our weapons cannot touch. I recommend we leave this system immediately." "What kind of entities?" Captain Veltar asked, unknown. "They appeared to be living shadows that could pass through solid matter. They consumed my warriors completely, leaving only empty armor behind." Marcus stood to the side, still wearing his environmental suit. Everyone was focused on the commander's report, but Marcus was thinking about what they had seen. The shadow creatures were not random monsters. They had shown intelligence, coordination, and purpose. They were hunters. Dr. Corvin, still wrapped in a medical blanket, raised one trembling arm. "Captain, the research logs indicated that the organisms came from the planet below. The station brought them aboard for study. Then we maintain a safe distance and observe from space," the captain decided. "We will file a report with the Galactic Council and recommend that this system be marked as a restricted zone." "Captain," Marcus said quietly, "I do not think that will be enough." All eyes turned to him. Captain Veltar frowned. Explain, Terran. Marcus took a deep breath. The creatures we encountered were not just hiding on the station. They were using it. The organic growths were forming a network, like a giant brain. I think the station has become a nest and those shadow creatures are scouts. Scouts for what? Thexvar demanded. For whatever is down on that planet. The research team did not just find some unusual life forms. They found something that has been waiting for contact with other intelligent species. The bridge fell silent. The idea that the creatures might have been actively seeking contact with the galactic community was more terrifying than random monsters. We need to get closer to the planet, Marcus continued. We need to understand what we are dealing with before it spreads beyond this system. Absolutely not, Thexvar roared. We barely escaped the station with our lives. I will not risk this ship and crew on the theories of a primitive human. Then let me go alone, Marcus said calmly. The suggestion was so unexpected that no one spoke for several seconds. Finally, Captain Veltar found her voice. You want to go to the planet? Alone? I want to take a small scout ship and conduct a reconnaissance mission. I am the smallest target and I might be able to avoid detection. This is madness, Dr. Corvin hissed from his medical bed. Those creatures hunt by sensing living beings. Size will not protect you. Marcus shook his head. I do not think they hunt by sensing life. I think they hunt by sensing fear. What do you mean? Asked Zixara, her crystalline voice weak but curious. On the station, the creatures appeared when we were afraid. They became more active when our stress levels increased, and they targeted the largest, strongest members of our team first, the ones who felt the most confident and secure. Marcus paused, organizing his thoughts. Every species represented on this ship evolved to be dominant on their home worlds. You have all lived your entire lives at the top of the food chain. You have never had to be prey. And you have? Captain Veltar asked. Every human has. Earth is a world where everything tries to kill you. Humans evolved alongside predators that were faster, stronger, and deadlier than we were. We survived by learning to be afraid of everything and still find a way to fight back. Marcus looked around the room at the assembled aliens. These shadow creatures feed on terror, but they expect their prey to be helpless when afraid. Humans are different. Fear makes us more dangerous, not less. Commander Thexvar stepped forward, his massive form looming over Marcus. You think your primitive fear responses make you special? You think being weak and scared is an advantage? I think being afraid and fighting anyway is something none of you understand, Marcus replied steadily. And I think that might be exactly what we need to survive these creatures. Captain Veltar considered his words carefully. Around them, the other officers waited for her decision. Finally, she spoke. The human's analysis has merit. We cannot leave this system without understanding the full scope of the threat. But I will not send anyone alone to that planet. Captain, Marcus said. A larger team will be detected more easily. Not a larger team, a different approach. The captain turned to her communication officer. Contact the Convergence Computer Core. I want a full analysis of the sensor data from the station. And prepare a Class 2 scout ship for departure. 6 hours later, Marcus stood in the scout ship bay, making final preparations for his mission. The scout ship was barely larger than a fighter craft, designed for stealth reconnaissance. Its advanced sensors could gather information while maintaining a safe distance from potential threats. Dr. Corvin slithered up to him, moving slowly but looking much better than before. Human, I must ask you something. Why are you doing this? You could request transfer back to your homeworld. No one would blame you. Marcus secured the last of his equipment and looked at the serpentine scientist. Because someone has to. And because I am the only one here who understands what we are really facing. And what are we facing? Perfect predators. Creatures that have evolved to hunt intelligent species across the galaxy. They probably move from system to system, consuming entire civilizations and leaving nothing behind. Dr. Corvin's 6 arms writhed nervously. Then why go to their homeworld? Why not flee while we can? Marcus climbed into the scout ship's pilot seat. Because running away from predators is what prey does. And I'm not prey. The scout ship launched from the Convergence and began its approach to Kythera 7. The rogue planet hung in space like a dark marble, its surface hidden by thick clouds. As Marcus drew closer, his sensors began to pick up strange readings. The planet's surface was covered in the same organic network they had seen on the station, but on a massive scale. The entire world pulsed with that same blue-green light, visible even through the cloud cover. It looked like a giant brain floating in space. Marcus set the ship to maintain a high orbit and began his detailed scans. What he found made his hands shake as he recorded his observations. The planet was not just covered in the organic network. The planet was the network. Every mountain, every ocean, every landmass had been converted into a single, massive thinking organism. And based on the energy readings, it had been thinking for a very long time. As his scans continued, Marcus discovered something even more disturbing. The network was not confined to the planet's surface. It extended deep into space, invisible tendrils of energy reaching out toward nearby star systems. The creatures were not just hunters, they were farmers, seeding other worlds with their influence and waiting for the harvest. His communication system crackled to life. But the voice that came through was not from the convergence. "Small hunter," the voice whispered, speaking in perfect standard galactic. "You are different from the others." Marcus felt ice form in his veins, but he forced himself to respond. "What are you?" "We are the endless hunt. We are the fear that drives prey to panic. We are the shadow that follows light." The voice paused. "But you do not run when afraid, small hunter. You think when terrified. This is interesting. What do you want with us?" "We want what we have always wanted. To hunt, to feed, to grow." The voice became thoughtful. "But you are not like the others we have consumed. Your species tastes of predator, not prey." Marcus realized that the creature was reading his mind somehow, tasting his thoughts and emotions. But instead of fear, he felt a familiar sensation rising in his chest. Anger. Cold, calculated anger at something that threatened his ship, his mission, and his species. "You have been hunting for a long time," Marcus said. "How many civilizations have you consumed?" "Thousands, millions. We have fed on the fear of countless species across the galaxy, but none have tasted like you. And what do I taste like?" The voice was quiet for a long moment. When it spoke again, there was something almost like respect in its tone. "You taste like us, small hunter. You taste like something that refuses to be prey. You taste like something that hunts back." Marcus felt a chill of understanding. The creature was not just communicating with him. It was evaluating him, trying to decide what he was. "Are you going to try to consume me?" he asked. "No," the voice replied. "We do not consume our own kind. You are kin who hunts between stars. You are the offspring of the world that makes hunters." Marcus blinked in surprise. "You know about Earth?" "We know all worlds that birth predators. Your world is young, but it has the old hunger. The hunger that makes prey into hunters. The hunger that refuses to surrender." The communication ended abruptly, leaving Marcus alone with his thoughts and his racing heart. The creatures had recognized something in humanity that they considered familiar, something that made them hesitate to attack. But Marcus knew that hesitation would not last forever. Eventually, the endless hunt would decide whether humans were truly kin or simply unusual prey. And when that decision came, the survival of every intelligent species in the galaxy might depend on what one small human had learned about being afraid and fighting anyway. Marcus returned to the convergence with his mind racing and his hands still shaking from the encounter. The creature's words echoed in his thoughts. "You taste like us, small hunter." What did that mean? How could an ancient cosmic predator recognize something familiar in humanity? Captain Veltar assembled the senior staff immediately upon his return. The bridge was tense as Marcus delivered his report about the planet-sized organism and its vast network reaching across space. "The entire planet is alive," he explained, calling up his sensor readings on the main display. "It has been converting other worlds for millions of years, spreading its influence across the galaxy like a disease." Commander Thexvar studied the data with growing alarm. These energy tendrils reach toward 17 different star systems, including systems with inhabited worlds. "How long before they reach those systems?" asked Captain Veltar. Marcus checked his calculations. "Based on the expansion rate I observed, the tendrils will make contact with the nearest inhabited system in approximately 60 standard years." The bridge fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. 60 years seemed like a long time, but it was nothing in galactic terms. Entire civilizations could be consumed before anyone realized the threat was spreading. "There is something else," Marcus continued. "The creature spoke to me. It called itself part of something called the Endless Hunt. It said it has been feeding on the fear of intelligent species for millions of years. Dr. Corvin, who was back on duty despite his ordeal, raised several arms nervously. It spoke to you? What did it want? It was trying to understand what I was. What humans are. Marcus paused, choosing his words carefully. It said we taste like predators, not prey. It called us kin who hunts between stars. Ridiculous, Thexvar rumbled. Humans are the weakest species in known space. How could an apex predator consider you kin? Marcus looked at the massive Krathan commander. Because you are thinking about this wrong. You think strength means size and armor and weapons, but that is not what made humans apex predators on Earth. Then what did? Asked Zixara, her crystalline form refracting light nervously. Persistence. Endurance. The absolute refusal to give up. Marcus walked to the star chart display and pointed to Earth's location. Every other species in this room evolved to be the dominant force on their world. You developed natural weapons, armor, superior size. You made everything else afraid of you. He paused, looking around the room. Humans are different. We evolved alongside creatures that were bigger, faster, stronger, and deadlier than us. We should have been extinct millions of years ago. But we survived because we learned to hunt things that could kill us. How? Captain Veltar asked, genuine curiosity in her voice. By never stopping. By following our prey for days, weeks, months if necessary. By learning their weaknesses. By working together. By refusing to accept that anything was unkillable. Marcus's voice grew harder. Every creature on Earth learned to fear humans not because we were stronger, but because we were relentless. Commander Thexvar shook his massive head. You speak of ancient history. What does that matter now? It matters because the endless hunt recognizes those traits. It has encountered species like us before, species that refuse to be prey even when outmatched. Marcus activated the communication system. I want to try something. I am going to attempt contact with the entity again. Absolutely not, Thexvar commanded. It is too dangerous. Everything we do from now on is dangerous, Marcus replied. But we need more information if we are going to survive this. Captain Veltar considered for a moment. Proceed, but with all shields raised and weapons ready. Marcus opened a communication channel toward the planet. Endless hunt, I am the human from the small ship. I wish to speak with you again. For several minutes there was no response. Then the bridge lights dimmed and that familiar whisper filled the air. Small hunter returns. You bring the herd prey with you? Yes, my shipmates are concerned about your intentions. As they should be. They are prey who think themselves hunters. They will feed us well when the time comes. Marcus felt the other officers tense around him, but he kept his voice calm. And what about humans? Are we prey or hunters in your eyes? The voice paused, and Marcus could almost feel the entity thinking, evaluating. You are unusual. Your species carries the old marks. The scars that only come from climbing the kill chain on a death world. What marks? The mark of the pack hunter. The mark of the persistence killer. The mark of the toolmaker who hunts gods. The voice grew thoughtful. We have seen your kind before, small hunter. Not your exact species, but your type. Worlds that forge predators instead of prey. Marcus's breath caught. There are others like us? Few, very few. Most worlds birth prey species who grow soft when they achieve dominance. But some worlds are different. They birth species that remember what it means to hunt. What happened to the others like us? Some joined the hunt willingly. Some fought us and proved worthy of respect. Some, the voice paused, some we learned to avoid. The admission sent a chill through the bridge. The idea that there were species so dangerous that even the endless hunt avoided them was both terrifying and inspiring. Why are you telling me this? Marcus asked. Because you interest us, small hunter. You stand before us without cowering. You speak without begging. You think instead of panicking. These are the traits of a true predator. But you still intend to consume the other species? They are prey. It is their nature to be consumed, just as it is our nature to hunt. But you? The voice became almost contemplative. You could be something different. Marcus felt a terrible understanding forming in his mind. You want humans to join you. We want to see what you become. Your species is young, still growing into its predator nature. You could become great hunters given time. You could become worthy packmates. The communication ended abruptly, leaving the bridge in shocked silence. Marcus turned to face his shipmates and saw fear, confusion, and something that looked like disgust in their eyes. It wants to recruit you, Captain Veltar said slowly. It wants humans to become like them. That appears to be one possibility, Marcus agreed. Commander Thexvar stepped forward, his forearms clenched into fists. And what is your response to this offer, human? Marcus looked up at the massive Krathan warrior without flinching. My response is that the Endless Hunt does not understand humans as well as it thinks it does. Explain. It sees our predator nature and assumes we are like them. But there is a fundamental difference. Marcus walked to the star chart again, pointing to the locations of various inhabited worlds. The Endless Hunt consumes civilizations. It destroys entire species for food. That is not what human predators do. Then what do human predators do? Asked Dr. Corvin, his 6 arms weaving together nervously. We protect our pack, our tribe, our species. Marcus's voice grew firm. Yes, humans are predators. Yes, we evolved to hunt and kill, but we also evolved to protect the weak, to defend our young, to care for our packmates. He turned to face the assembled officers. The Endless Hunt thinks it is offering me a chance to join the ultimate predators, but it does not understand that human predators hunt to protect, not just to kill. Captain Veltar studied Marcus with new respect. You are saying that humans would fight the Endless Hunt to protect other species? I am saying that humans will fight anything that threatens innocent lives, even if that thing is older, stronger, and more dangerous than we are. Marcus looked each officer in the eye. Because that is what predators do when something threatens their pack. And you consider us part of your pack? Zixara asked, her crystalline voice full of wonder. Marcus was quiet for a moment, thinking about the months of ridicule and dismissal he had endured. Then he smiled slightly. You are intelligent beings trying to survive in a dangerous universe. That makes you worth protecting, regardless of how you have treated me. The bridge was silent as everyone absorbed this statement. Finally, Commander Thexvar spoke, his voice unusually subdued. I have misjudged you, human. I thought your small size meant small courage. I was wrong. Size has nothing to do with courage, Marcus replied. Earth taught us that the smallest predator can be the most dangerous if it refuses to give up. Captain Veltar straightened to her full height. Then we fight. We warn the Galactic Council and prepare our defenses. Yes, Marcus agreed. But first we need to understand exactly what we are fighting. The Endless Hunt has been doing this for millions of years. It has consumed countless civilizations. If we are going to stop it, we need to learn everything we can about how it hunts. And how do we do that? Asked Dr. Corvin. Marcus looked back toward the planet where the ancient predator waited. We go back. We learn its weaknesses. We find out how the other predator species fought it. That is suicide, Thexvar said flatly. Maybe. But it is also the only way to save everyone else. Marcus met the commander's gaze steadily. Besides, I told you, humans are very good at hunting things that can kill us. As the Convergence prepared for what might be the most dangerous mission in galactic history, Marcus felt that familiar sensation in his chest. Fear, yes, but also something else. Something that had driven his species from the caves of Earth to the stars themselves. The plan was insane by any reasonable standard. Marcus would return to the research station alone, not to gather information this time, but to confront the Endless Hunt directly. He needed to force the ancient predator to reveal its true nature and capabilities, to understand how it could be fought. Captain Veltar had objected strongly. Commander Thexvar had called it suicide. Even Dr. Corvin, despite his growing respect for the human, had tried to talk Marcus out of it. But Marcus knew that conventional tactics would never work against an enemy that had been perfecting its hunting methods for millions of years. You cannot fight an apex predator by being predictable, Marcus explained as he made his final preparations. You fight it by doing something it does not expect. And what does a cosmic horror not expect? Asked Zixara, her crystalline form flickering with nervous energy. For its prey to volunteer to be hunted. The shuttle bay was quieter this time as Marcus prepared to depart. Word had spread throughout the ship about what he was attempting, and many of the crew had come to see him off. The same aliens who had mocked his size and weakness now watched him with something approaching awe. Commander Thexvar approached as Marcus finished his equipment check. The massive Krathan carried something in his lower arms, a small device that Marcus did not recognize. This is a quantum communicator, Thexvar said, offering the device to Marcus. It will maintain contact even if the station tries to interfere with normal communications. If you discover something important, I will transmit everything I learn. Marcus assured him, taking the device. The commander paused, seeming to struggle with words. Marcus, I owe you an apology. I called you weak because you are small. I called you primitive because your species is young. I was wrong on both counts. Thank you, Commander. That means more than you know. Come back alive, little hunter. The galaxy may need what you learned today. Marcus piloted the shuttle back to Research Station Omega-7, but this time he approached openly, making no attempt at stealth. As he drew closer, he could see that the organic growths had spread even further, covering the entire exterior of the station. It no longer looked like a research facility. It looked like a massive brain floating in space. He docked with the main airlock and stepped aboard, immediately feeling the difference in the station's atmosphere. The air hummed with energy, and the organic growths pulsed in complex patterns that suggested active thought. The endless hunt was fully awake and aware of his presence. Small hunter returns, the voice whispered from all around him. But this time you come alone. This time you come knowing what we are. Why? Marcus walked deeper into the station, following corridors that had been completely transformed by the organic network. Because I need to understand you. I need to know how you hunt, how you feed, how you spread across the galaxy. Knowledge is dangerous, small hunter. Knowledge of us has destroyed species more advanced than yours. Maybe, but ignorance will definitely destroy us, and I would rather die knowing than live in fear. The whispers seemed to approve of this answer. Yes, this is why you interest us. You seek knowledge even when it brings danger. This is the mark of a true predator. Marcus reached what had once been the station's central laboratory. Now it was a vast chamber filled with pulsing organic structures that stretched from floor to ceiling. At the center of the room, a section of the growth had formed into something almost like a throne, and sitting upon it was the most terrifying thing Marcus had ever seen. It was humanoid in the loosest sense, but constantly shifting and changing. Sometimes it appeared solid, sometimes translucent like smoke. Its eyes were points of absolute darkness that seemed to pull light into them. When it spoke, its voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Behold the heart of the hunt, it said, gesturing with arms that flickered between flesh and shadow. Behold what your species could become given sufficient time and wisdom. Marcus forced himself to step closer, fighting every instinct that screamed at him to run. How long have you been hunting? Time has no meaning to us. We have existed since the first thinking being felt fear. We have grown stronger with every civilization we have consumed. The creature leaned forward, studying Marcus with those impossible eyes. We have seen the rise and fall of galactic empires. We have fed on the terror of species your kind cannot imagine. And you want humans to join you in this. We want humans to fulfill their potential. You are waste predators now, hunting animals and fighting among yourselves. But you could be so much more. You could hunt across the stars. You could feast on the fear of entire worlds. Marcus shook his head. That is not what human predators do. No? Then tell us, small hunter. What do human predators do that makes them special? Marcus took a deep breath, knowing that his next words might determine not just his own fate, but the fate of every intelligent species in the galaxy. Human predators protect their pack. Always. Even when it means sacrificing themselves. The heart of the hunt tilted its shifting head. Protect? You would fight to defend prey species? I would fight to defend innocent lives, yes. Even though they mocked you. Even though they called you weak and primitive? Marcus thought about the months of ridicule he had endured. The constant dismissal of his capabilities. The way he had been treated as less than an equal. Then he thought about Dr. Corvin's nervous questions, Zixara's growing respect, and Commander Thexvar's final apology. Yes, even then. The creature was silent for a long moment, its form shifting through different configurations as it processed this information. When it spoke again, its voice carried a note of confusion. We do not understand. They are not your species. They are not your pack. Why would you protect them? Because they are intelligent. Because they have hopes and dreams and people they care about. Because they do not deserve to die in fear just because something stronger wants to feed on them. This makes no sense. The strong consume the weak. This is the law of nature. Marcus stepped even closer to the throne, his fear transforming into the cold anger he had learned to use as a weapon. No, that is the law of parasites. Predators take what they need to survive. Parasites consume everything until there is nothing left. The heart of the hunt suddenly stood, its form becoming more solid and menacing. You dare call us parasites? What else would you call something that destroys entire civilizations for food? What else would you call something that turns living worlds into extensions of itself? The creature's eyes blazed with dark fire. We are the apex. We are the ultimate expression of predator evolution. You are a disease, Marcus said flatly. You are what happens when predators forget why they hunt. The reaction was immediate and terrifying. The heart of the hunt expanded, its form becoming a writhing mass of shadow and fury that filled half the chamber. Its voice became a roar that seemed to come from the depths of space itself. You dare judge us? You who are nothing but meat and fear walking on weak legs? But Marcus did not run. Instead, he activated the quantum communicator and began speaking rapidly. Convergence, this is Marcus. I am transmitting everything I have learned. The endless hunt is not invincible. It is afraid. What? The creature shrieked. It has been hunting prey species for so long that it has forgotten how to deal with real predators. It feeds on fear, but it has never learned to handle anger. It consumes the weak, but it does not know what to do when something fights back. Marcus looked up at the towering mass of shadow and spoke directly to it. You offered to make humans like you because you recognize what we are. But you do not understand what we are. We are not predators who hunt for pleasure or power. We are predators who hunt to protect our pack. Your pack is not here, small hunter. Your pack cannot save you. Marcus smiled, and for the first time since entering the chamber, he felt truly calm. My pack is not just humans. My pack is every intelligent species in this galaxy, and I am not here to be saved. He reached into his equipment pack and pulled out a device he had built during the journey to the station. It looked like a simple scanner, but Marcus had modified it with components from the shuttle's power core. I am here to learn your weaknesses, and I'm here to hurt you. The device activated with a high-pitched whine, and suddenly the organic growth throughout the chamber began to convulse. The heart of the hunt screamed as the device sent feedback through its network, causing pain to ripple across the entire planet-sized organism. What have you done? The creature roared. I found your central nervous system, Marcus replied, adjusting the device's settings. Every network has nodes, connection points that are more vulnerable than others. Humans learned to find those points when we hunted mammoths and saber-toothed cats. The creature lashed out with tendrils of shadow, but Marcus was already moving. His small size and human agility let him dodge attacks that would have killed any of his larger shipmates. He rolled under a striking tendril and activated the device again, sending another pulse of pain through the network. You think you can defeat us with one small device? The heart of the hunt snarled. No, I think I can prove that you can be hurt. I think I can show the galaxy that you are not invincible. Marcus transmitted more data through the quantum communicator. I think I can teach them how to fight back.